You're watching Capital City Sunday.
Good morning. This week on Capital City Sunday, the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee wrapped up Thursday night with former President Donald Trump formally accepting the Republican Party's nomination.
Proudly accept your nomination for President of the United States. Thank you.
The former president addressing delegates just days after narrowly surviving an attempt on his life. Trump's message, unity within the party.
This race can be boiled down to a single question. Who fights for you?
Democrats arguing Republicans have stirred political tensions for decades. This week, we'll dive into where President Joe Biden's bid for the White House stands. And our coverage of the RNC continues. Wisconsin Congressman Brian Stile, Milwaukee County Executive David Crawley, and Marquette Law School poll director Charles Franklin joining us on the show this week with key takeaways from the convention. Thank you for joining us. I'm Darielle Fair. On the last and final day of the RNC, former President Donald Trump accepted the GOP nomination for the third time. Trump promising to be a president for, quote, all of America. Trump spent the first part of Thursday night's speech recounting his attempted assassination 5 days earlier at his rally in Pennsylvania. Trump telling Republican delegates in Milwaukee, quote, I'm not supposed to be here tonight. Sources confirmed Trump and his campaign drafted a new speech in the wake of Saturday's violence. Trump's message focusing on unifying the party.
Together we will launch a new era of safety, prosperity, and freedom for citizens of every race, religion, color, and creed. The discord and division in our society must be healed. We must heal it quickly. As Americans, we are bound together by a single fate and a shared destiny. We rise together or we fall apart.
But it was not long before Trump went off script to attack his political enemies. The former president addressing his current legal troubles, Trump arguing Democrats had rigged the judicial system against him. During his remarks, Trump emphasized he would only use President Biden's name once to call out the Democratic incumbent as one of the worst presidents in history. Trump spoke to the party's platform, but gave little clarity to the specific policies he plans to carry out to accomplish those goals.
The United States will be respected again. No nation will question our power. No enemy will doubt our might. Our borders will be totally secure. Our economy will soar. We will return law and order to our streets, patriotism to our schools, and importantly, we will restore peace, stability, and harmony all throughout the world. To achieve this future, we must first rescue our nation from failed and even incompetent leadership.
Trump's oldest daughter, Ivanka Trump, and former First Lady Melania Trump joining the former president for the first time since the convention's start on Monday. And just 1 day before his remarks, the spotlight was on Trump's newly announced running mate, Ohio Senator J.D. Vance. National security and foreign policy were the focus of Day 3 of the Republican National Convention. Vance championed Trump's America First agenda during his remarks.
We have a big tent in this party on everything from national security to economic policy. But my message to you, my fellow Republicans, is we love this country and we are united to win.
Vice President Kamala Harris was on the campaign trail in North Carolina ahead of Trump's acceptance speech on Thursday. Harris criticized the former president and J.D. Vance for their claims to be a unity ticket, telling voters not to be fooled.
You cannot claim to be for unity if you try to overturn a free and fair election and threaten to terminate the United States Constitution.
The vice president will campaign in Milwaukee on Tuesday, this as questions grow about the viability of her running mate, President Joe Biden. A Wisconsin congressman joined the growing list of Democrats who are pushing for President Joe Biden to drop out of the presidential race, some publicly, others privately. This list includes some party leaders. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, and former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi have all had private meetings with Biden, where they expressed concerns about him staying in the race. More than 20 House Democrats and several senators have publicly called on Biden to drop out. One of those House Democrats is Wisconsin's Mark Pocan. On Friday, he posted on Twitter saying, quote, "I am so appreciative of what President Joe Biden has gotten done for this country, but having a second Trump presidency is as scary of a thought as I can have. We need to move forward in a way that ensures Trump is never president. It's time to pass the torch." While the RNC was in Milwaukee all week, Mayor Cavalier Johnson recognized the economic impact of such a large-scale event, but spoke out against the messages coming out of Pfizer Forum from Republicans. He reiterated his support for President Joe Biden and drew a contrast between the policies of Biden and Trump.
The Biden-Harris administration has delivered investments in people. President Joe Biden has tackled serious problems, and he's done it with real solutions. In the coming weeks, I'll have the opportunity to join another convention, the Democratic National Convention, taking place in Chicago, just 90 miles south of where we are here in Milwaukee. And there we will renominate Joe Biden and head into the fall election season.
Some voters are still standing by President Biden, too. We saw unity among Democrats in Madison who got together to watch Donald Trump's speech Thursday night. One supporter of President Biden shared why the night was a reminder for Democrats.
So important that we defeat Donald Trump. I would support Joe Biden if he decides to stay. That's the ticket. I think we really need to unite around it. If he chooses to step away, I will support who's ever the head of the ticket. The values of the party are so important to me, and defeating Donald Trump are so important to me. And I think that's true of the people who are all here tonight. That's one of the things we all have in common.